We sell donuts. And donuts. We sell donuts.
Hey everybody, welcome to Blood and Donuts. I am Tony.
And I'm Chris. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
We went and checked this out last night.
Yeah, we went to the movie theater. We saw it live. This is our second movie of the 2024 new releases that we have gotten to actually go and watch. The first one was a Blumhouse production, Night Swim, which we didn't like. We thought it was terrible. What's cool about this one is a chance for Blumhouse to kind of redeem themselves. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to watch a Blumhouse these days. I feel like every time it's like, oh, it's a Blumhouse. Starting to get unfortunate.
Well, you know what? Blumhouse put out Black Phone. Blumhouse has some good movies. Blumhouse did the Paranormal Activity. You know, that's where they got their start. And I'm not going to just say Blumhouse is some of the greatest horror films of the past 10 years Blumhouse has put out. They have some, you're right. They put out some real turds as well. And it's almost like they just throw everything at the wall and hoping something sticks, you know?
Yeah, and it seems like it sticks for different audiences. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, you're going to have a group of video game players, myself included, who are looking forward to stuff like that. You're going to have, a younger audience maybe that might appeal to this movie and some others. But like Black Phone was tremendous.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
And
like you said, Paranormal Activity, fantastic. Yeah. One of the best horror found footage films of all time.
They kind of they redid the Halloween series as well. That first one was really good. The Halloween Ends was not good for the most part. That's what people hated it, and they've kind of been on this company's kind of been on a downward spiral ever since. Again, it's kind of hit or miss. You kind of go in there and you're like, Blumhouse. Okay, and you kind of hold your breath.
See.
Yeah, you kind of hold your breath and see. Imaginary, a 2024 American supernatural horror film directed and produced by Jeff Wadlow, written by Wadlow, Greg Erb, and Jason Orumland. It's co-produced by Jason Blum through his Blumhouse Productions. We just said that. When Jessica returns to her childhood home with her family, she finds her old teddy bear Chauncey and sees that her youngest stepdaughter Alice has grown attached to it. After Alice's behavior becomes concerning and the games that she is playing with Chauncey turn increasingly sinister, Jessica starts realizing that Chauncey is much more than just a stuffed bear. She believes him to be for all those years.
This movie was 70% just cliche, wasn't it? It's like family moves into home, family, they've got their own problems and issues, and then something goes on in the house, and then at first the adults just don't care, and then all of a sudden it becomes a family problem. They all have to deal with it together.
Yeah.
And it's just so cliche. It's like Night Swim, but like with a bear.
I'm telling you, it's almost like they're like, okay, are you going to make a movie for us? Here's a template. Use this. You know what I mean? But like, it just like here's the here's the template for the movie. You're sitting. I was so bored through this whole thing. Now they're like the ending. Now, without spoiling it, there's an ending. There's kind of a payoff, but man, it took so long to get there. I was literally just like, oh my god. I was like, are we still doing this? Are we still doing this? And it's like dialogue that I wrote. Like the dialogue was so terrible. It was just like, I don't know, Chris.
I think we both went to the bathroom at separate times, and each time we came back, we're like, did I miss anything? And you're like, no.
I was like,
you didn't miss.
I was like,
nothing.
Nothing. You could have stayed in there longer.
Can you go get us some popcorn?
That's one of my positives on the road. Like, if you need to go get popcorn or go to the restroom during this movie, you're not going to miss anything. It's going to be great.
You're going to be all right.
You're going to be okay. And if you do miss anything, they will take your hand in this movie and walk you along and tell you exactly what's going on, because they think that you're an idiot. So they wrote this movie for, I don't know. Again, like, this is a PG-13 movie. And PG-13 horror movies can be good. They can be really good. And this might be good for a younger audience. I said that with Night Swim. I liked Five Nights with Freddy's. And I don't know if I went to the movie theater and I was by myself, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much as I did when I had my two kids sitting beside me. Now, you had your son with you, which was great.
Yeah.
And he seemed to enjoy it. And the scares, like you said, they were effective, right? With him.
Yeah, for certain parts. He really enjoyed the scares. Like, I was sitting right beside him. We spread out because we had the whole place to ourselves pretty much.
There was nobody there.
The movie started. Yeah. He scooted back over towards me because he's kind of getting a little scared, which is fine. But like every jump scare, I could feel him kind of jump a little bit. And he enjoyed it. On our way home, he talked about the different scares that got him, and I agreed with some points of his. He's like, yeah, that was really cool. This was really creepy, and towards the end, he was looking at me. He's like, Dad, this is a 13 here, and I'm like, no, son, it's unfortunately not going to make a 13, but it had a few good points for me, which I'll get to in a minute.
What's cool about that is, like, again, just go out to the movie theaters. Good movies, bad movies, cheesy movies, it doesn't matter. You're making memories. He's going to remember that forever, And we had fun. I have fun every time there's Coke, popcorn. Put some airplane. Here's a tip: put some airplane bottles of some little drinky drink in your pocket and bring it into the theater.
That's a pro tip, Tony.
That's a pro tip.
People know about that.
Go to the liquor store, get you some airplane bottles, put them in your pocket, get that large Diet Pepsi, pour about this much out, airplane bottle. The movie, like, it turns a bad movie into a,
an all right one.
It really helps you enjoy things. With the actors in this, we have DeWanda Wise, who was the main character. She was Jessica. She was the stepmother, right?
Yes, and I guess no last names. At least on IMDb, everybody has a first.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing any last names as far as that goes.
Yeah. Yep, DeWanda Wise is the lead. You had Tom Payne, who now he is a big character in the Walking Dead series. He plays, I think his name is Paul, but they call him Jesus in the Walking Dead universe. Yeah. And spoiler alert here a little bit, but about a third of the way through the movie, he just kind of goes and gets some milk and pieces out. Like, you never see him again.
Hey, are you sure that it's okay that I go on tour while you deal with all this crazy stuff that's going on? Yes.
Teenage angst and an imaginary doll. He's like, peace out. I got to go get some milk. On tour, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Yeah.
He just exits the movie, and you never see him again.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a great actor, and like you say, he's on Walking Dead and stuff. But they could have put anybody in that. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like I could have been in there. I'd be like, well, now I have to go on tour. See you later, and it would have worked fine. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. The
only other thing he ever did was, like, when the older teenager was sassing the stepmom. He just kind of looks at her and goes, that's kids for you.
That's one thing. So we have Tegan or Tegan. It's spelled with T-A-E, so I hope I don't get that wrong. But Tegan Burns or Tegan Burns is Taylor. She's a teenager who's just like, life is just so sucky. Comes away, and she's like, the typical I'm fighting with my stepmother and I hate my stepmother type of thing. But she is just so mean, everything in me just wants Jessica to just reach out and just smack her and say, like, don't talk to me like that.
Right.
Or
then you had,
I'm sorry, or Max, Tom Payne, to come out and just have some balls and say, hey, listen here. I understand that you're going through some crap. You're not going to talk to my wife like that. Okay.
Right.
You're not going to be rude.
Yeah, it was weird to see that dynamic.
Give me your phone. You know what I mean? Like, I like go to your room for the rest of your life. Like, do something, dude. You know, he's like,
You're going to lose your Switch for a
like
few days or something.
like you said. I'm just like, is it just me, or I'm just not going to let somebody just sit around? Like, I don't care if you're my daughter, or my son. You're not going to talk to my wife like that. Like, that's
Right. He's just like, kids say the darndest things.
oh my god! I'm like, isn't she crazy?
She's cheeky.
She's cheeky. She's just whatever. Well, I got to go on tour, man. Oh, gotta. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So
Go
funny.
ahead.
No. So the other kind of child actor in this is Piper Braun.
Like the main,
and I
main
thought
character.
she did okay.
Oh, I thought she did great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she had a few scenes there where she had to really portray some emotion, and she looks like she's younger than 10.
Yeah.
And
It's
I mean,
hard, it's hard to find it's hard to find them that young, you know, where they can cry on cue and stuff like that. You know, she had to cry.
Yeah, because I think of like great child actors that I've seen recently. The kids from Black Phone were just phenomenal, and they were a little bit older than Piper here, but Piper for her age did a great job.
She's like Poltergeist age girl, which that's a movie that we're supposed to be doing coming up soon. But yeah. She's gonna be something special in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for her. She did good.
Absolutely. Let's see if we got some facts on this. I wrote a few down. I know that Mr. Jeff Wadlow, who is the director of this film, in 2001, he had a small acting part in the movie Pearl Harbor. Did you have that fact, Chris?
I did not, because the family moves into a house on Elm Street in Springwood.
Oh, that's
a
cool.
reference to Nightmare on Elm Street. Another imaginary villain proven to be real.
Yes.
And I didn't know that either. I didn't see that.
Oh, man.
I must have been in the bathroom when they showed the street or something.
It does not mention Elm Street anywhere. If it does, prove it. Show me. I want to see it too. Where was I? So I did see that the inspiration for this movie came from Poltergeist, the movie, which we just kind of like.
Yeah, I saw that. First trailer premiered in front of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie in theaters, and it was consisted almost entirely of sound only, encouraging audiences to use their imagination.
What?
Yeah.
You know what?
It's got 3 down votes on IMDb. I'm not going to use IMDb anymore.
You know what? You know what? Like imaginary friends, imaginary. What you see at the end and stuff. It has potential. This idea, this concept has potential. The teddy bear, the kid, the imaginary friend. Again, like we're gonna do Poltergeist soon. Even like Elm Street, which we just reviewed, and we talked about on Nightmare on Elm Street, the dream sequences. Like you can do anything. You know, like we talked about Freddy with those long arms and stuff, and the stuff that they did, you couldn't do with Halloween. This has that same thing, but I feel like it came up short when it came to those right?
Yeah, this movie could have been a lot shorter.
They could have cut out 30 minutes of this.
Right, but then if you really wanted it to be fleshed out and good, you would have a trilogy on hand, because there are a lot of ideas in there that worked, that were okay, but it was almost like 3 or 4 different storylines they were trying to shove down your throat, and it was just you can't fit all that in this movie.
Yeah, it was all over the place. It was crazy, and again, like Blumhouse, they this was a $12 million budget, which when it comes to Hollywood movies, that's nothing. They'll make this back. So there could be a sequel for this. And if they take some good ideas, which I think there was good ideas there, and they run with it, I think that it could be better.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be just itching to go see it, you know. Yeah. I mean, like if Black Phone 2 comes out, I would probably want to go see that. Yeah. If Night Swim 2 comes out, I'm not going to care.
Yeah. Well,
if Imaginary 2 comes out, it's not going to matter.
It's true. That's true. But I love it because it is such a good idea. You know, I just hate to see such a good idea just go to waste.
Yeah, we do need to. We'll get into some spoilers. So real quick, there is no synopsis, so we're not going to really do a scene by scene. but we're gonna give our pros and cons, and then after that, we're gonna just openly talk about spoilers and any plot twists that may or may not have happened. So
And we'll try to piece this movie together as much as we can. Again, we watched it last night, one viewing, and there's not a lot out on this.
So yeah, so I'll get into my pros and cons here. So pros, Tony, I liked a few parts with the bear and the scares, with the string, when the string was getting pulled and you heard the little jingle stuff, and then there was a neighbor boy that came over to kind of flirt with the angsty teenage daughter. He was getting scared left and right. I thought that was pretty cool sequence. And then in the room later, when the lights are kind of going around the room, I thought they used the lighting and the bear good there. I mean, that's kind of it. And then the younger child actor was good. The cons, there was a few plot twists that just did not make sense. They didn't matter. It didn't matter to me. And the acting was, other than the little girl, like I say, the acting was just ugh. And us as decorated film critics, we take that to heart. We really kind of frown upon that.
I know this is your rating. I'm sorry. I'm just going to interject a little bit. I feel like these are good actors, with the dialogue was just so bad.
Yeah, it was like the older lady, the neighbor lady. It was just weird. Every scene that she was in was weird.
Yeah, but I liked her character. Like when she came, she pushed the story along. I liked her. I liked seeing in her house. I liked the book that she was writing, but her dialogue was so terrible.
Okay, so then the cons are writing.
Yeah, I just hate to just trash these actors, because I feel like they just didn't.
I don't.
Like they've all been in like you said, they've been in big stuff. Like they've been in good things. You know what I mean? Like, but they're working with what they got. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, so cons would be the writing, a few plot twists that just didn't really make sense. Because I liked a few of the scares, I'm gonna give it a very strong 3 out of 13 donuts. That is my ranking. It's a 3. Go check it out if you have like a younger teen, maybe a 12-year-old who's about to turn 13. I just watched it. I took my son who's 12, and he enjoyed it. But if you're older, if you're a horror movie connoisseur, you're not really going to have a fun time with this one. It's going to be kind of boring.
So this is I'm going to go. So my positives on this are, like we said, Piper Braun as Alice. I think she did a phenomenal job as a child actress. She did a great job. I love the idea of imaginary. I like the imaginary friend, that universe and stuff. And at the end, there was some cool aspects which I feel like they could run with. I feel like the execution on a lot of this was just terrible. As far as just like you said, with that pull string of that teddy bear, it was really cool. I got excited. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, "Here we go." There was no payoff, none. There was no kills in this.
A CGI jump, and that was it.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you there's one kill. I'm not gonna tell you who it is here in a minute. I will, but there's one kill in this movie. One kill, and it's off camera. What? It's a horror film. You know what I mean? When I pay money for a horror film and I'm going to a movie theater, I need to see. It sounds sadistic, but I need blood. I need fear. I need screams. I need something. One kill in this movie. Why? The people that needed to be killed, like that boyfriend, didn't get it. So again, the writing was bad. It seemed cheap at times. The budget showed. I feel like when there was a dream universe, this is kind of spoiling. Whatever, they go to this dream land, and there's doors opened up everywhere, and I feel like we're in just the hallway of this place for about 15 to 20 minutes, just talking. So what do you think we should do? I don't know. And there's like go ahead.
Cobweb ceilings.
Yes.
The lighting.
Like why? Like I'm just like why? Bad. Like we were just in here for. I was like, it just felt like I was just like, man, probably could have spent a little bit more money on this. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah, just like the dream scene. It looked like it was just a part of a walk through haunted house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this movie felt so like it didn't feel big. It felt like I was very confined to like 3 sets. You know, there was like a living room, this house, living room. There's a hospital over here on the road, but it might have been like part of this set. And then there's like this little dreamland. I just felt very like confined. I don't know. It just it, like the budget shows. They spent $12 million on it. Some people can take $12 million. Like John Carpenter spent how much on his film? $300,000 in the 1970s. Which is probably equivalent to about 10 or 12 million, but it felt like a much bigger neighborhood. Much, you know, we went to many people's houses. We went to we went to a hospital. We went to a lot of things. So again, I just felt like the execution felt like cheap. I don't know. The writing felt cheap. It just fell short. I think Blumhouse needs to, quality control a lot of these movies. Yeah. And just like, again, if you like it and you want to produce it, maybe throw Night Swim, throw Imaginary onto Hulu or Netflix or something. Make a deal with them, but you don't need to be putting this in movie theaters. I don't think. Yeah. That's my opinion.
I agree.
I'm going to give this, I'm with you. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 13. You know, if you like, not a good horror film. It's not a good movie. It's not a good horror movie. It's just okay. You know, it's just okay. It's like it was like watching.
It's just boring.
Yeah, it was so boring, guys. I don't know how to explain it. It was just so freaking boring, and dialogue, and just no payoffs and everything. It was just like I want to throw him a popcorn at the screen, you know, and I wanted to fall asleep. Anyway, so Imaginary. Why don't we spoil this thing?
Yeah, let's spoil it. Okay. Freestyle.
All right. DeWanda Wise, Jessica, it opens up and she has like a nightmare, right? Mm-hmm. And she's a children's book writer. She has a little bug that she writes about, right? And the bug has a nemesis or a bad guy. Is that true as well?
Yeah.
And almost the nemesis inside this book kind of haunts her dreams a little bit. And her dreams are like her past. She's like kind of seeing stuff that might have happened to her, but she's not really sure. Her dad's definitely involved in these dreams. He has a missed tooth and there's blood poured out everywhere. And he's trying to keep it almost seems like he's the bad guy in these dreams.
Yeah, it's weird because he's like chasing her almost down these hallways
and screaming, very scary, like but you can't hear what he's saying, so it seems like he's very like imposing and scary.
Yeah, and he's like a spider, some kind of spider form, and then she gets jolted out of her dream, and the husband just looks over and he's like, "Was it the spider again?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then they're like, "Okay, well, let's go move back into your childhood home."
It's just like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna move right into your childhood home,
where all this stuff happened.
Exactly,
apparently.
And it shows where Jessica has like a burn mark on her arm, but so does Piper Braun, Alice. So they have this, like thing in common. I don't understand that completely. It goes away in the end, or it goes away.
No, it went away.
It went away during a dream
sequence. Yeah.
Okay, there at the end. So the burn comes from which we'll talk about at the end. There's a certain amount of rules that you have to do to open up this dreamland. You need something. It's kind of like when you get married, something borrowed, something blue, all this stuff. And I don't remember all of those things, like something that is good, something that is bad. And then to open it up at the very, very end, you have to get something that hurts very bad. Something that's very painful to you. And so so you either have to I think,
and this is the imaginary bear Chauncey who is telling this little girl to do these things.
Yes.
She's like, she goes up to the stepmom. She's like, hey, I need something happy. So she grabs like a bounce ball and she draws a happy face on it. She goes, there you go. It's a happy ball.
Chauncey's trying to open up this portal.
Yeah.
And so, but you don't realize it. You don't realize it at all until because she's just going through. She's like, oh, it's a scavenger hunt. And Jessica at her house is kind of saying the same thing. Oh, I remember when I used to go on scavenger hunts like that too with my imaginary friend. But she never thought of like a negative thing. She didn't have a negative thought about it.
Right. And yeah, this whole time the daughter, the other daughter, she's just like an ass. She's like, oh, you called her Tater Bug? Oh, that's our nickname or whatever. Like, really? Like,
you're never going to be a part of this family. I just want to go ahead and tell you that.
Yeah, you're such a jerk.
Jessica.
So they move into the house, right?
Yeah.
So they move in, and then the neighbor boys all coming on to the teenage daughter, and then he comes over and he's got just like drugs, right?
Drugs, but it turned out to just be allergy medicine. It was just right. So it was.
I guess that's what the mom said. Yeah,
he said, "Oh, this is just this is Molly," and he takes one, and she doesn't. And he's kind of bored. It's like it's a weird scene. It doesn't really go anywhere. It really doesn't make any sense. The boy's just kind of a jerk.
The only reason it's there is to show the cool sequence with the drawstring on the bear.
But again,
Chauncey has like a pull string, and that's kind of where they use that.
And he doesn't die. You really want.
I remember I leaned over to you and I was like, "He's gonna die."
Yeah.
And you nodded your head, "Yep," and then it never happened.
Yeah. So Chris, this house has drawings all over the walls when they walk in. So she's an artist by trade. She does children's books and she's an artist, but she had the ability to just draw all over her house. And as soon as they get there, she's like, okay, let's paint over it. There's a secret door down in the basement, but we don't talk about that too much. And we really don't know if it's real or not, or if it's imaginary. The movie just kind of alludes to it because we really don't talk about it that much, correct?
Right. Well, I remember they're playing hide and seek, and then the little girl goes down to the basement because that's where the stepmom would go, right? In a dark, creepy basement for this 8-year-old girl to go find her.
But both Jessica and Alice have this like ability. It's almost like this sense where, because Jessica sees the bear, but so does Alice, right?
Oh, we're not going to get into what we see just yet. That was so stupid. There's a plot twist like towards the end of the movie where they're like, oh, there was never a bear there. What are you talking about?
What bear are you talking about? Yeah.
Gosh. With the doctor, and then the daughter's like, there's no bear. There never was a bear. And I was just...
When she said that, the hairs on my freaking arm stood
just down. Like stayed where they were because it was the stupidest plot twist.
I was sitting there. I rested my head on the seat in front of me, like.
I remember like leaning forward and it was like hitting my head against the seat. And I was like, oh, so.
All right, so the little
was so bad.
It was pretty bad. The little girl gets Chauncey downstairs in the basement.
She's got a bear,
and so like she's just playing with the bear, all this stuff. Again, like it's just her running around playing with the bear, the teenager running into the stepmom saying, I hate you. You're so stupid all the time. The teenager goes outside. She meets that boy who's like mowing the yard, and the boy's like talking to her, and he's like, hey, I know a spot where we can get in with no IDs to drink beer. And then the stepmom comes in and ruins that, and the teenager like won't even talk to her. She texts something to her. It's like it's just like boring crap,
Yeah, it is boring.
Just
the only thing not boring is the weird old neighbor lady who apparently babysitted the main character, if you can call her that, Jessica.
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, I remember I was babysitting you the night your
Dad went freaking
crazy.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just,
But
but
then it reveals later that she like, oh, your dad didn't just go crazy. There was an entity there. I knew it, and I've been writing a book about entities for the rest of for my entire life. And I've been looking. I was hoping that you would come back, and I've been writing about entities and imaginary friends and kids and how they their closeness to demons and how they can talk to the dead. And you're just like, what?
She had a whole story.
She had an exposition. She had an exposition dump that I was just like, what? What? Where is it? Stop! Slow down! What are you doing?
It was exposition dump grandma who like had 5 minutes of screen time, and she explained the whole freaking thing in this movie. I felt like it was almost 2 hours long.
So freaking long, man. And like you're just like it felt like 3 hours. When I got home, I was like, man, I got home pretty early because I felt like I was there for a while.
But then this exposition dump grandma, right towards the end of the movie, she goes insane, right?
Yes.
And then she traps everyone in this dream world, and then she goes on this big monologue about this place can fulfill all your dreams and you can do whatever you want here and everyone's happy. And then the bear just comes and eats her and drags her away, and it's like, okay, thanks for the exposition dump, Granny.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird.
My favorite part was like, so my favorite part, this is where I wanted to like throw my shoe at the like so they're trying to open the portal again, right?
Yeah. Which time?
Yeah. So Chauncey steals Alice away towards the end of the movie, and the whole family at this point, minus Dad because he's on tour, the elderly neighbor is over there, and you have the teenager on board this time, and you have the stepmom, and they're sitting around this bowl, and they have all the things that they're supposed to do. They're trying to open up the portal so they can get into that dream world to see Alice.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where you gotta have like, okay, we got to do something painful, and the stepmom stabs her hand with a scissors, and they bandage that up, and that was not good enough to open it. So then she turns to the teenage girl and she goes and says the most hurtful things, which is fine.
It's your fault. Alice is missing.
Yeah. And you're sitting there like,
you're the reason your mom left.
Yeah, and you're sitting there like, you know exactly why she's doing this because this is a painful thing. But then I'm like, okay, open up. And I'm looking for the door to open up. But instead, the old lady goes, the reason that she just did that is because the scissors was not painful enough. So she had to, and I was like, no shit!
Shut up. We understand. You don't have to make the airplane sound when you spoon feed us the freaking plot.
God, I was just like, no, are you sure? She's like, the scissors, when she stabbed herself, that was not painful enough. So she had to be even more. And I was just like, you think?
Do you think? Are you sure?
Yeah. And so they go into this dream world. So they're finally there, and they're sitting there. There's blue and black checkered walls, and it looks like it was in my garage or something. I don't know. The doors are open.
I had those same decorations for the Chris Halloween party that I have here. Like, had cobwebs with lighting behind them, and it just looked
was it cobwebs or was it clouds? There was some clouds, or was it like? And then there was like a string of LED lights.
Yeah, it was like the webs that you use for office party decorations.
We must be in the dreamland now. And like anything can happen here. Like the lady went again, she went and shut the portal. She was like, yeah. I never want to leave this hallway. She didn't even taste ice cream. She didn't even ride a white horse. She didn't even touch a rainbow or some gold or anything. She just got in the hallway. We're just seeing the hallway, guys. There's doors open everywhere. And just out of nowhere, she just shuts the door, right?
Yeah, she was talking with them about how this place works, and she knew everything apparently from her
Yeah.
being a a lorist or something, and knowing just everything about this dream world. And then she distracts the girls for a second, and then she goes and shuts the door, and we're just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Like, it wasn't suspenseful, it wasn't scary, it was just weird.
Yeah, it was
and unimportant.
It was weird. It was unimportant. I don't mind the dream world, and I don't mind going into these doors, but you could have made this so much cooler. You could have like shot this like bright lights and hallways and like maybe just a dark hallway full of doors with like just all you heard was. I guess we should.
Yeah.
I guess we should pick a door. At one point, they walk into a door, and you get creepy Alice, and this is probably the best scene in the movie for me. I like creepy Alice, and there's like a carousel light, twisty up thing, and it's playing. It's playing Chauncey's song. Which how does
I don't think Alice is in there, but yeah, the teenage daughter walks in there. Oh no, she is, but then she turned into some demon. But yeah, the carousel
short, creepy Alice with white eyeballs is in there.
Yes.
Is that
and Chauncey posters on the wall?
Is it Jessica or is it the teenage girl in there?
It's the teenage girls in there.
I apologize.
And the lights going around, and you can see the bear, and it's about to line up with this.
You said Chauncey's song sounds just like what?
It sounds like the ending for, was it Home Alone or Home Alone 2?
Yeah. Yeah. Go like when you hear Chauncey's song, like think about is it a ripoff of Home Alone? Like some it's called John Williams, and it's called Somewhere in My Memory. I believe it's called. Do 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 do. And again, it changes a little bit, but it's kind of like when Vanilla Ice was like on the Under Pressure. Like, well, mine like theirs is dum 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 da da dum 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 dum. Mine is dum 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 da da dum 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 da da. You know what I mean? It's different.
There's one extra note in there. We did not steal it.
Anyway, it's just, it does. It was very similar to that. So,
all right, so let's talk about plot twist. Tony.
Okay,
all right,
plot twist.
We've briefly touched on the, the bear was never there. There never was a bear. That was pretty lame to me. What did you think of they were sitting in the hospital room. Jessica is reading her final book to her dad. Right. And you think it's all wrapped up, and then everyone is like sitting there and they're like, you taught me how to be a better person. And then even the teenage daughter's like, I love you so much now. You really showed me how to not be an asshole. And, all this stuff. And then it just twists, and it's like, no, you're still in the dream world.
So my thoughts were like, this movie is so cheesy that this really could be the end. And then I
thought it was over.
Yeah, I was just like, this movie has been, and they're like, nah, we're not that cheesy. Which is like, I was like, so you like it, which made me feel like, so y'all know that you're cheesy, y'all know that this movie is cheesy, and you didn't change it, you like the cheese. And you did you do the cheese just so you could have this cheesy ending and then like twist it? Like, was it that important? Because this was the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, and then the teenage angsty daughter comes in and it's like, story time's over, asshole, and then like starts chopping up the happy family, and it's like, what is going on?
I would put that right up there with like Busta Rhymes, when he said. No. When Ash at the supermarket was like, shop smart, what did he say?
Shop smart, shop S smart. Ash and the Army of Darkness.
This is my boomstick. Like that it's very when she came in there and she said whatever she said, some obscenity, and then hit the dream lady. I thought that was the best.
Did you? Yeah, it was like the second twist that just was like, Because I was like about to gather up my things and leave.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, kiddo, let's head out. And he says, no, it's another twist. But
I was like, oh, great,
just
another
didn't pay
20
off,
minutes.
like you said. It's like some of those twists would work, but it's almost like you could still see him coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
And like you say, like the writing was just
it was so
bad.
Yeah.
And they just weren't delivered right. Like you said, they're great actors. The writing just wasn't there, and it just wasn't very good delivery.
Yeah. I like this movie, this concept. I like it. I just would have liked it maybe under another director, maybe someone who knows a little bit about horror movies, go watch Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Go watch Evil Dead, go watch Halloween, and then make Imaginary. Go watch Poltergeist, and then watch, and then make Imaginary. And make it good, man.
Go watch like Midsommar, which is a lot better than this. Go watch Talk to Me. I mean, we just did that one. That podcast is coming out next week.
Well, what you're talking about, A24, who put out they put out Midsommar, they put out Talk to Me. I feel like their quality control is a little bit better than Blumhouse. Blumhouse is like they're bigger than A24. But I feel like their quality, they're letting a lot of crap get through, Yeah,
and I haven't seen Megan, but like I've wanted to see it, but now I'm not so sure. It seems like it's probably not going to be very good.
Chris, that was that
know.
did very well.
Did it?
They're riding the coattails of that. Yeah, I did hundreds of millions of dollars, I believe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we need to go watch it. Yeah. So yeah.
Any final thoughts on this sucker, man?
They burned the house down. The little girl.
And she's like,
the little
just
girl.
let it burn.
Yeah, burns the house down. Her childhood home, the imaginary friend, all of that. They go to a hotel. They have firemen. They have those blankets that when there's a fire in a movie, everybody has a blanket draped over them. I don't know. Do firemen just go, here's a blanket? Here's a blanket every time there's a fire. But so they walk into a Holiday Inn or a Hyatt or something like that. They have blankets draped over them, and there's like a kid there with an imaginary friend. And then, this is like the comic relief where they're just like, oh, I think we should stay at another hotel. And then they go, I think you're right. And then they just turn around and walk out of the hotel. And then of course there's nobody in the theater. So I go. It's so it's so cheesy, right?
Was the old lady and the neighbor kid.
Yeah.
They had some kind of exchange and it was just so lame and not funny. But I think the most impressive part about this movie is the firefighter response time. Because that fire had just taken off.
I looked at you. I was like,
and then a fire truck pulls up and stops right in front of the house. And I was like,
they just ran outside. I was like, boo. Yeah, that was pretty cool. We didn't talk about this. Is the last thing we didn't talk about Chauncey in Dreamworld.
Chauncey in Dreamworld.
Monster Chauncey, big bear, big teeth. Almost like a child would draw a child, like a monster, which I see what they were going for, but it seemed kind of corny, didn't it?
Well, see, in that I didn't think that was terrible. Just he was used, maybe too little. Like they showed him during the pull string jump scare with the neighbor boy. They showed him in a quick CGI, like jump out and scare him. And then the neighbor boy leaves and you don't see him again till Dreamworld. But like while he was standing there breathing and like plotting his next move.
And with his big teeth, like his big teeth, and he was big in the room and everything like that. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like Krampus. Like Krampus looked awesome.
Yeah.
I thought Chauncey looked awesome in his Dreamworld final boss form.
Yeah.
But just everything else around him was just piss poor,
So can you explain to me one more thing? Can you explain to me there's like a Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, but a Spider-Man that haunts the stepmother Jessica DeWanda Wise's dreams in the beginning, and also is like the end character chasing her still at the end. Was her was Alice's imaginary friend a bear, and Jessica's imaginary friend was a spider?
It could have been, yeah. I mean, it's up to your imagination to figure it out. But but yeah, I think Alice had Chauncey, and Jessica.
Is that what Jessica?
Had,
was it Molly the spider or something like that? Is that what she wrote books about? Is that?
Yeah, I think so, and that's why she was she was an accomplice publisher, according to the little montages that we saw. But
yeah, weird movie. Just bad,
boring.
Yeah, just boring. It was just boring.